We have the biggest chess YouTuber on the planet in front of our screen. It's Levy Rozman playing with the white pieces against John Bartholomew. Levy is playing at the Creator Invitational in the US at Naroditsky Memorial. And there you have it, a handshake. John is a strong player and I am with couple of GM norms, also the founder of Chessable. And the players are ready, off we go. Levy opens with pawn to d4 and John plays d5, the symmetrical, and bishop to g5. Now generally if the knight is on f6 you play bishop g5, but Levy does it without the knight, pawn to c6, opening up the path for the queen to come to b6. Now e3 played and the queen, he was about to play his queen there, waits for a bit and does play it. Queen to b6, attacking the b2 pawn. You can play pawn to b3. You can also play queen c1 and you can also sacrifice the pawn, like for example knight f3, queen b2, knight d2. He plays pawn to b3 and now the bishop comes out to f5, so that when you play e6 the bishop is outside the pawn chain. Levy offers the bishop for trade, takes, queen takes and pawn to e6. Levy's strategy is very simple. Bring the knights out, castle, and put your pawn to c4. He brings his first knight out. John also develops here. And everything is kind of even except for the fact that white has slightly more space. Bishop e7 played, and now Levy can keep the bishop on the board with bishop g3. He takes on e7, knight e7, and now pawn to c4. Looks logical. So he's going to play knight to c3, and there you see white has a small space edge. Black will try to equalize in some way, and there you see a very tricky idea. Queen a6, pinning the pawn here so that queen on d3 is undefended, and also planning to perhaps put more pressure with knight to b6. Will be interesting to see what Levy does. He can play rook c1. He goes rook d1, defending the queen. So if knight b6, he could push the pawn. Black castles, and now maybe e4 could be a plan, but I think getting your piece out should be the priority. That's what he does. Knight to c3, and Levy has 1 minute 43 seconds. John has 2 minutes 32 seconds. It's such an even position with everything looking equal, but these are the kinds of positions that can get deceptively tricky. Rook fd8, lining up the rook against the queen. Maybe one idea could be to take and then jump with the knight to attack the queen, as the pawn on d4 would be pinned. Levy is playing unusually slow here. He's taking a lot of time. And usually he doesn't do that. He's very quick to make his decisions. Perhaps he's a bit unsure what to do. cd5 seems like a possible move, but kind of equalizes the space after cd and queen d3 and cd. So maybe he doesn't want to take here, but he's already down to a minute. And Levy goes h3, like useful move, taking away back rank ideas and also putting the ball in black's court, saying like, what do you want to do? Do you want to do something active, or you are also going to wait? So John, who has roughly an extra minute on the clock, has to decide now. He can bring his rook into the center, rook c8. He can also take on c4. Pushing pawn to c5 may not be the best of ideas. He takes on c4. Now, Levy has an option to take with the pawn, but I think taking with the queen makes a lot of sense, because the queen gets out from the d file. And also if queen takes queen, I like this position for white. Rook b1, put pressure on b7. It's a nice plan. Queen a5. Trying to swing the queen over. This is a very interesting decision by John. And Levy goes b4. He's planning to maybe even go b5. Queen comes to h5. And a4, gaining even more space. So black now little bit cramped for space. a6 played. And you can actually play pawn to a5. Levy goes knight e4. He's eyeing the d6 square. He's eyeing the c5 square. He's also looking to go g3, attack the queen. 37 seconds for Levy, 1 minute 31 seconds for John. Also, it's a 2-second increment per move. And John plays a5, a good move, trying to gain space on the queen side. And if you play b5, he will take, and then b6 to get a protected passer. And look at Levy, he's thinking, he's playing very calmly, but he's down to 20 seconds now. Levy, come on, you need to move. Knight to g3, attacks the queen. Queen to d5, offering a queen trade. Now, white offered a queen trade once, black declined. And this time it's Levy's turn to decline the queen trade. He's down to 13 seconds. John has 1 minute 8 seconds. Take on b4. Queen takes b4. Now attacking the knight and the pawn. All of a sudden, John has to be careful. Okay, maybe taking this pawn is not so, safe, because rook b8. I mean, there is queen c7. So actually taking that pawn is possible. Maybe knight g6. He goes knight f5. But now take on f5, ef5, and you can chop this off. Take, and chop, because rook b8, queen c7. And Levy, what a brave decision by him. With just 10 seconds on the clock, he's taken the pawn on b7. John, if he plays rook b8, queen c7, rook c8, queen comes out to f4. And white is a clear pawn up. Levy, better, but has to be careful on time. But now John also down to 14 seconds. Queen c7. And he goes rook b2, entering in. a5. Levy is like, what are you doing here with your rook? There's nothing. g5. He tries to attack, but Levy is queening. g4. Takes. Now the queen wants to get here along with the rook. But a very good move is knight e5, trading. He goes queen g3, pinning the pawn. Also not a bad move. Knight f6, defending the pawn. a7. He goes h5. Wow, knight jumps into e5. Knight e4 played. Now queen h4. Good move. Knight takes f2. Queen g5 check. King f8. Levy gives a check on h6. King g8. Check. King f8. It could be a draw. But he goes queen f6. And now knight h3 check. And queen g2 is a mate. And he resigns. And John Bartholomew wins the game. Whoa. That end was very unexpected. And such blunders happen under time pressure when you have very little time on the clock. But let's just try to understand what was happening, how was Levy winning, and what was the key blunder that he made that lost him the game. Let's have a look. So Levy got a winning position when John entered with his rook on b2. It looks active, but it's not doing much, and he started pushing his a pawn, which was a good decision. John, of course, is desperate here to get some counterplay. He goes g4, takes, and now knight to e5 would have been very powerful. Of course, g3 looks scary because if you take here, there's a mate, but queen takes d7, g takes f2, and king f1 is actually completely winning, because a check here does not help. You have rook d3 or knight d3 blocking the check. Levy was trying to be very safe here. He brought his queen, pinning the pawn. Knight f6, defending. a7, And now John wanted to play knight e4, but queen takes g4 would hang with a check, so he saved the pawn. And Levy brought his knight to e5. Maybe better was queen f4, but then you would lose the knight and I would take on f6. He went knight e5, knight e4, attacking the f2 pawn. And now a very good move, queen h4. Knight takes f2, and Levy did find queen g5. King f8. They repeated queen h6, king g8. He could have also gone king e7, but he went king g8. And now a check, king f8. And at this point, Levy could have actually won the game with the move e4. This is a very, very good move. You can take this pawn with the knight or the queen. Imagine if you take with the knight, now no longer there is any threats here. So actually you can play this, king g8, and knight takes c6 with a threat here, and white is winning. But queen takes e4 looks like the real test. However, there's a very nice move, knight d7 check. And now the king can't go, the king can't go to these three squares, so king e8 and knight f6, and you win material. So e4 would have given a winning game for white, but Levy in his hurry played queen f6 here with the hope that he could get a check in and he would be winning here, but he completely missed that there is knight h3 check, a discovery on the g2 pawn, and here he resigned because if g takes h3, queen g2 is a checkmate. John went on to win the tournament with a score of 9 out of 9, and Levy finished second with 7 out of 9. So this game was actually a very, very important one in round 3 that was won by John.
International Master John Bartholomew here at the Naroditsky Memorial. You actually won the Creator Invitational. How was your experience playing all the fellow creators?
It was a very sad day in a way, this whole event under sad circumstances, but I was just very happy to take part in this and, kind of be in communion with my fellow content creators and everyone who loved Danya and wanted to show him support here. So it really did turn out to be a wonderful day. This feels like a reunion, I was telling some people. So I had a tremendous time.
And I want to ask you about this Naroditsky Memorial tournament organized by the Charlotte Chess Center. It's been like a year since Danya has passed, and this tournament is created as an honor to his legacy. So what do you think about all the top players coming here playing, and also the content creators and also the chess fans who are here in Charlotte?
It's incredible, especially in the US. I can't recall an event ever like this where we had top players coming in. I saw Sindarov in the lobby of the hotel when I checked in, and that just doesn't happen around here. And the fans were amazing. I talked to so many people. Everyone was wonderful, people coming from far away to watch really all the events. So it was a perfect mix of players, best in the world, content creators, and the fans too. They really made it.
And I'm sure you have watched Danya's content. Also, you have met him, had a lot of interaction with him. What do you think is your favorite memory of Danya?
Yeah, there's so many. I think my favorite memories of him are just playing late night blitz together. We taught multiple camps. I've been to Charlotte for probably going on 15 years, once or twice per year, teaching camps that the Charlotte Chess Center organizes, playing tournaments here. So we've crossed paths many, many times in person, and we've had a lot of late nights where we're just playing, trash talking, playing ping pong too. We love to play ping pong at one particular camp. Daniel was a great ping pong player. So those are just some of my favorite memories of him, just late night, totally loose. He was such an authentic guy. He could talk about anything, and I'll really miss those times.
And did any of the moves you played today get inspired by Danya or his games or something?
Yeah. So I actually played a lot of D6 based systems as black, and I was hoping to get a King's Indian defense in at least one game, so a full-fledged King's Indian, because Daniel was such an expert in that opening and he was known by it. Didn't get that chance, but I scored obviously really well with the openings that I did play, and I played King's Indian attack as white. So that was a little nod to Daniel.
It was a 9 out of 9, like a streak, and which was your favorite game among all of them?
Let's see. I think my favorite game was the game against Amon Hambleton, because it came right down to the wire. I think at one point I had 1 second left, and I knew I was in a winning position. I was taking almost every piece he had on the board. But he played a move that surprised me right at the end. And when I've been in poor form, because I am semi-retired, when I've been in poor form, I've often collapsed in those moments. And I didn't collapse. I played the correct move in time, and I won the game. So that was my favorite game in the tournament.
And did any of the fellow creators surprise you, or like was it difficult at any point?
Yeah, I think I had a bit of an advantage because I didn't play the Blitz tournament yesterday. I took that off. So yeah, I think everyone is strong here. Eric Rosen, him and Aman were my pre-tournament favorites. So Eric and I had another crazy game that went right down to the wire. I think Eric's form the past couple of days, I think he didn't finish so well in this event, but yesterday I was watching him. I was very impressed by his performance. He ended up with 7 out of 11, I think, and had some incredible results against really strong players.
And this was a fast time format tournament, and in memory of Danya, what does this win mean to you? You won this with a perfect score.
Yeah, it's so special. I was telling another interviewer, this is, I think when I look back on my career, going to be one of the most memorable results because of the sad circumstances, but also just being here in front of people who are very passionate about the game, and the spectators, the unique circumstances that brought this event together, that makes it very special to me. So the totality of the circumstances is what I'm going to remember. Wonderful. With a lot of emotion too.
Yes. And I saw you are also a very famous content creator. Also, you are an entrepreneur. And I think currently you're working on a project called Chessiverse.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, if you can tell us a bit about that. What is that exactly, and how is it panning out?
Yeah, so Chessiverse is a platform with over 1,000 human-like bots. So if people are familiar with the Maya bots on Lichess, these bots play like humans. You can get a rating on our platform. You don't have to worry about fair play because you're playing against the bots only. So there's a surprising amount of people we've discovered who like practicing chess, they like playing, but they don't necessarily want to play against a human all the time. They don't want that pressure. And I also grew up playing against computer programs. One of my very first chess opponents was this, I'm dating myself here, I'm almost 40 years old, but one of these tabletop chess computers where you had to push down and then push again to move the piece. So we're trying to bring that experience to users of our site. Yeah, we think we have the most human-like bots on the internet. We're always improving them. We're also releasing courses. I released a course on the Scandinavian defense back in November. It's really a lot of fun. I've been involved for about a year now.
Amazing. I think people will enjoy that. You mentioned like it's human-like bots, so I think they'll have like they can improve. I think much easier, so that it feels like you're playing another human being.
Yeah, and it's fun. It gets people who might have been on the fence about playing chess that little extra nudge, like, hey, no one's going to see your games. You just go ahead and play and experiment against the bots.
Wonderful. Congrats again, and
Thank you.
all the very best with your project.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.